Sunday, 16th of May, the Coral Geographer was anchored in the magnificent Prince Frederick Harbour. This was our opportunity to visit the Mitchell Falls, and everyone who wanted to travel to the falls had been assigned to a small group. The first part of the journey was by the little Zodiacs, which took people from the ship to a small beach. On the beach, 2 helicopters were ready to ferry people to the falls. One of the helicopters took 4 people at a time, the other helicopter took 5. These helicopters are based nearby and spend much of their time ferrying people to the falls. With all the passengers securely belted into their seats, we took off from the sand. Below we could see the Porosus Creek, named after the Latin name for the numerous crocodiles who hide among the mangroves. Then it was over the Mitchell Plateau. This is the Mitchell River National Park of 1,150 square kilometres. It was named in 1921 after Sir James Mitchell, who was Premier of Western Australia at the time. 3 groups of Aboriginal people have traditional lands within the park. The traditional owners of this area are the Wanambal Gambera people, who call the falls Punami Uku. The falls are quite isolated. The only other way to access the falls is via an 8.6 kilometre hike from the closest road. As we neared our destination, we were able to get our first glimpse of the falls. We landed on a rocky shelf and walked around the rocks to a better viewing point. After the wet season, a considerable amount of water cascades over the falls. The river flows for nearly 120 kilometres. 6 creeks and rivers feed the river, and altogether it drains a great area of the Kimberley of nearly 3,000 square kilometres. The 3 tiers of falls of the Mitchell Falls add up to nearly 80 metres. These were originally falls at the end of the cliffs into the sea, but over millions of years the water has cut the gorge in the sandstone plateau, moving the falls upstream. There was a part of the river nearby where people could go for a swim. Then it was time to get back on the helicopter for the ride back. I was facing forward this time. The wind rushing past made it very hard to hold the camera still as we retraced our route back to the beach, so taking still photos proved more appropriate. "15 minutes later the helicopter had landed, and we were soon on the Zodiacs heading back to the ship. That afternoon the explorer boats took us around the coast of Prince Frederick Harbour. It's a huge drowned valley, 25 kilometres long and up to 14 kilometres wide, created by two rivers, the Hunter River and the Roe River. The ancient Wunamin-Milawandi sandstone forms beautiful cliffs. There are many small islands in the harbour. On one of these we caught sight of a nest of an osprey, one of the major raptors found in these parts. As we moved around we could see the pair of ospreys on their nest. Then one of them took off, flying high above the sound. Along the coast is a particular geological formation known as Thor's Hammer, named after the Nordic god who produces thunder, lightning and storms. A large block of Wunamin-Milawandi sandstone is balanced on the top of a column of cemented rock fragments. At the base of the formation are large quartz crystals and sheets of silica. Around 1,790 million years ago, hot lava from deep in the earth was pushed up into the sandstone. It mixed with the sandstone and cooled slowly, forming particularly large crystals. We moved on and explored the inlets nearby. The sides of the channels covered with mangroves. As with the Mitchell Falls themselves, we were privileged observers of a part of the world which has been shaped by natural forces over thousands of millions of years. A part of the world which has been barely touched by human habitation.